People now finally have their hands on the M2 MacBook Air that's just been released, but what if there were certain advantages that the M2 MacBook Pro has over the Air, other than making you feel like you have a pro laptop just based on the name alone? Well, I was actually able to find 7 advantages which I'm going to be fully focusing on in this video, because in a previous one, I highlighted the top 7 problems, including the issue with the base 256GB model storage performance. So if you want to learn about that, definitely check that other video out. But for this one, we're going to be specifically focusing on the advantages the M2 MacBook Pro has over the new Air to help you make sure you're making the right buying decision. So let's get started. But first, we are launching an M2 MacBook Air giveaway. Yes, we ordered 4 models of the new MacBook Airs and we're giving one of them away. And to join, all you have to do is subscribe to this channel and comment on our launch week MacBook Air videos, including this video, and we'll choose one comment at random and announce the winner right here on YouTube on July 25th, and we'll ship it to you no matter where you are in the world for free. Yes, we'll cover the shipping charges, the import taxes, everything. So be sure to subscribe and comment to help us reach our goal of 1 million subscribers before the end of this month. And now let's get into the top advantages the M2 MacBook Pro has over the Air. Now, the first advantage is, of course, that the M2 MacBook Pro does not have a notch right on the display. Now, some people absolutely hate the notch. They can't stand it at all, and that is what the M2 MacBook Air comes with. Even though it doesn't have Face ID or anything like that, it just has a better webcam, but it has that huge notch, which is a bigger deal on a smaller 13.6-inch display than it is on, let's say, the 14 or 16-inch. It looks larger, and some people absolutely hate it. So if that sounds like you, then maybe the M2 MacBook Pro was made for you. You just get the straight bezel, no notch at all. Now, getting into the second advantage, the fact is the M2 MacBook Pro does have a fan. Now, this does mean that you are going to be getting better performance for extended workloads, maybe even workloads that last 5, 10, 15 minutes, not even hours, because in our testing, we showed that in our most extreme thermal throttling test, even this M2 MacBook Pro managed to throttle and clock down the speed of the chip all the way from around 29.5 watts down to 7, because the fan, even with the fan, it wasn't able to keep it cool. It was maxing out at 7,200 RPMs. Now, that was an extreme test, but in other ones like Cinebench or Lightroom photo exports, we actually got the fan to ramp up to almost 4 or even 5,000 RPMs in some cases, which means that without a fan, with the M2 MacBook Air, you're likely going to see more throttling than this model. So if you're doing a lot of extended workloads, maybe that fan is going to be a better choice for you. And now moving on to the third advantage the M2 MacBook Pro has over the Air. This one actually comes with the 10-core GPU as standard. So anybody going into the Apple Store, Best Buy, anywhere else and buying the base model, which is basically the only one available, you're going to be getting the faster 10-core GPU. Now, that is going to be great for different things like gaming, getting more FPS, getting, of course, sustained gaming FPS with the fan installed. So that is another advantage, that it comes base with the 10-core GPU. Now, getting into the fourth advantage, you have better battery life. Of course, this M2 MacBook Pro comes with a larger battery than the M2 MacBook Air, and in terms of what Apple rates the battery life to be like, it gives you 2 extra hours of battery life. However, the M2 chip actually comes packed with newer and faster efficiency cores, which means that they can handle more tasks by themselves without having to fire up the performance cores, which actually leads to some pretty impressive battery life on this M2 MacBook Pro, even compared to the previous M1 MacBook Pro. So because it has a larger battery, it is going to be giving you the best battery life out of any new Apple Silicon MacBook out there, even better than the 14 and 16-inch models. And now getting into the fifth advantage the M2 MacBook Pro has over the new MacBook Air. This one, of course, comes with the Touch Bar. Now, I personally don't like it, but there are some people who love the Touch Bar. They love using it, they love customizing it. There's also the Better Touch tool, which allows you to really get into the fine-tuning and customization of the Touch Bar. That is an advantage because the MacBook Air does not get the Touch Bar, it just has the standard function keys, which you cannot customize them. So to some people, this is the last Touch Bar equipped MacBook Pro, and some are actually going to be buying this for that reason. So if you enjoy that Touch Bar or you like the idea of having a digital display on your keyboard, then this is going to be an advantage for you with the MacBook Pro. Now for the sixth advantage, this M2 MacBook Pro comes standard with the higher end 67 watt power adapter. Now you might not know this, but the base M2 MacBook Air actually comes with a 30 watt adapter, which is less than half the wattage or speed of charging compared to this M2 MacBook Pro. So it's gonna be charging slower than this one is, which is very interesting. Now, if you want the same charger, you actually have to pay an extra $20 on the MacBook Air to get the 67 watt adapter, just like this one gets. So this one definitely has the advantage of having that built in when you buy it standard. And finally, for the seventh advantage the MacBook Pro has over the Air, this one actually has studio quality microphones, which the M2 MacBook Air is not advertised to get. So in theory, this should be better. Now, the interesting thing is we compared the microphones and the webcams of this M2 MacBook Pro to the higher end 14-inch, and surprisingly, the microphone on this M2 MacBook Pro sounds a little bit better because the 14-inch is a little bit muted and dull. The 13-inch M2 MacBook Pro still uses the same 720p webcam as it did for years, but they did kind of update the software a little bit, so there's more contrast there. Right away, you can tell that the image looks more natural. You can see more detail in my hair, and it should have better microphones, but you guys be the judge of that and let me know down in the comment section below. So to our surprise, you get pretty good studio quality microphones on this M2 MacBook Pro, which you are not getting on the MacBook Air. So there you guys go. Those were the top 7 advantages the M2 MacBook Pro has over the Air, and that's me throwing some positivity your way because there are some good things about this M2 MacBook Pro. Now, if you have some thoughts, let me know in the comment section below, and definitely subscribe and comment to enter that giveaway because this video is also included. And once again, on the 25th, we are gonna announce the winner right here on YouTube. So definitely click the circle button to subscribe and check out one of those 2 videos right over there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.